Every yard, every hit, every second. It's earned out here. This game demands more than just skill. It demands fuel. The right fuel. Because out here, it's not just about how hard you work. It's about how long you keep going. When the game gets real, drink bottle still.
Once again, another OUA season preview. This time, Coach Corey Grant of the Carleton Ravens is joining us. The yearly conversation we have with Coach Corey always starts off with a lot of laughs. So this is always a good one for Connor and I. Coach, we're catching you the day before your joint practices. What's been great about camp so far with you guys heading into this year 3 now, right, for you?
Three, no, four, I think. I don't know. It's been a long one. Feels like I've been here in training camp for about 4 months right now, too. So I think it's year four. Uh, but I don't know. Things have been going well. But putting new things in, obviously, with new coordinators being here on both sides of the ball, new coaching staff, and then obviously, you have to deal with new players, even down to new equipment person being here, what do you need this? How do you like this, coach? How don't you like this? And doing those different things and going through training camp. But things have been going really well. I've been our biggest thing this camp and our goal has been really how we're going to build a foundation in our brotherhood and just learning our new systems and being able to go out and each week and each day getting better, and hopefully that translation to us getting better every single week as we head into the season. And then with looking forward to Queens and going out there, I think one of the big things and we're excited about is getting another opponent. There's nothing really on the line, but there's still pride, and you got competitors out there, and then going against a formidable team. And I know Steve does a really good job with them over there. And then we talk about iron sharpening iron, and both of us getting, coming out of that day healthy and getting ready for our regular season.
Now, Coach, we're talking about these joint practices here, and we see this across, all levels of football pretty much, NFL, college, U sports. It happens across the board. So, what is the most valuable part for you about these joint practices?
I think one of the big things is sometimes you're so insulated in camp and you're going against your own team and your own players and you're starting to know each other and you're getting an idea as a head coach of where your guys are at, but you're not really sure against other competition. So being able to go there and go against somebody else, okay, is this kid really that good or is our guy really that bad or where are we at level wise and competition wise? And we know we got them some good football players over there, really good football players. So we're excited to test ourselves against them and see where we're really at install wise with what we know and what we've been putting in, and also then competition wise of what we have. And we might think in these joint practices, guys are practicing one way against a certain guy, but he might have been going against that guy since January. Now you're going against somebody new, and does those skills translate? And is it, you're getting a really good comparison, especially with some of their high level players over there, both offense and defensively. We know we're going to be challenged across the board.
Now, as you guys gear up for a week 1 home game against Toronto, you kind of touched on it with you and Coach Schneider both saying, like, we want to come out of this healthy. How do you guys kind of mitigate? And, Connor went through the long training camps as a player. I went through a couple where we had that first week bye, but also where we had those scrimmages. How do you guys kind of temper the intensity during your training camp to ensure that you're kind of hitting that first plateau at the joint practice and then that second one a week later in week 1?
Yeah, I think sometimes it just happens naturally, right? We know as coaches, we know that there's the ebbs and flows, right? Day one, I knew in training camp, everybody's here at 6 o'clock and ready to go. And then I know that's the Saturday. And then we know by the Monday, the guys are just rolling in and it's 7:30 and you're looking around and the locker room's quiet and the music isn't going as much as it is the other day. And then the first day you really put on pads and go full go and we do any tackling drills, it goes back up and then you get that 2 a day and stuff. So we know those ebbs and flows, and we plan for them. We have different events and different things that for the guys to really mitigate how low the lows are and how high the highs are. I know for going tomorrow to Queens and even talking in the team meeting in a couple hours, the guys are going to be excited, and they're excited just because it's a new opponent. They're getting off of campus. seeing other people and doing that piece. I know they'll be excited for that, but also understanding and we're taking it as it's a practice. It's another practice. We need to get better. We're working on what we have to because when the lights truly come on and they really count next week, we want to make sure we're ready to go.
Now, I guess we'll start to kind of think of the team aspect now. The big one, we'll just get it out of the way right away. You guys are extremely lucky to have not one, but two high-end quarterbacks on your roster. Talk about Elijah and Tristan's kind of growth and development and the way they've kind of bonded and built up each other over this offseason and in through training camp.
Yeah, it's been good. Like there's a battle. There's a battle at all positions. Yes, but the quarterback one is that one there, and we have two guys. I don't know what are they. They've thrown for over 2,000 yards or something like that. They both had really good seasons doing that piece, and it's competition. And they knew from day one. And I told them um, way back in January and February that it's a competition, right? And we're evaluating everything, and it's not just them. We got young guys. Matthew Theo right behind them. Zach Georges is pushing, and those guys are pushing. So the biggest thing is on the field, they're pushing each other to get better, but they're also helping each other out. That whole quarterback room, we have 6 of them in there, and they're also helping and teaching the young quarterbacks. And the one thing that I talk to all of them about is they're all learning something new and how fast are they going to pick it up, be able to do what we're asking them to do, and not only on the field, but how are they leading, right? And that leadership piece is big for us. And we talk about everything be evaluated, and at that position, they know that, and all eyes are always on them. So yes, everybody can talk about Tristan and Elijah, but Matthew's been having an outstanding camp. Theo there, he's been having an outstanding camp, and so is Zach George, and even our young guys. I know we were talking a little bit before, but Mackie Holmes and Julian, those two young guys have come in and they're picking up the system pretty fast, and I'm really happy to see. I'm proud of that entire group. And at the end of the camp and going into the first week, whoever comes out on top, the rest of them still have to be ready to go because you never know. So they're making tough decisions, but we'll make it. We only got one position. That quarterback position is always that big one. So we'll see how it falls when it ends.
Coach, I gotta ask because if it was up to you, if it was up to us, we'd dress 130, 140 guys. But
Yep.
like with the fortunes of talent that you have at quarterback, how important is it for you to have those third, fourth guys be smart, good, contributing? Like how is that important for you at the quarterback position?
It's important because as we found out last year, Tristan goes down and then the next guy is up in his second year, right? And we want to make sure that those guys are pushing each other, and everybody on the roster has to be ready. You never know when your number is going to be called, and you want to make sure that you're prepared. And they know it's an open competition because everybody's learning something new. And the more they get that competition and the more they're pushing each other, the better that room becomes. And that's just across the board. And the confidence we want to have with the other rest of the guys in the room, and they're building that up. So it doesn't matter what year you're in. We talk about everybody's a leader in here. They lead in their own way, and everybody's going to get their chance. And when they are, just make sure that they're prepared. And if they're not the starter, or it doesn't even matter what position, if you're not the starter, you're helping that guy and you're pushing that guy to be better, right? And we'll go from there.
You guys, over the last few years, have had a developing offensive line. Talk about their kind of progress and what you're expecting from them this upcoming year.
Yeah, we've lost some guys this year. We've had other guys move into spots. We were fortunate enough to get John Greaves, who came from Acadia, was a transfer last year. He didn't play. So having him come on as a guy that's played in U Sports before, we're excited about that. And, we have a couple of other transfers coming in. So about that piece, but sometimes hurts some when, Angus O'Mara is not here this year. He was going to be on the coaching staff, but, he's focused on school and finishing his degree there. Which I'm proud of him for. And I told him, once a Raven, always a Raven, and doors always open. So we'll have a mixture of, Noah Fahy, who is older, and Jet, who's had some experience, and then guys behind that haven't had a lot of experience, but they've been working, and Coach Val and Coach Frank have been putting them through the paces through camp. and trying to get them. And my big thing for them is that communication piece. If they can start talking and getting on the same page, that'll give them the best chance to be successful.
I know a coach of Conrad's always used to say, "If we're all wrong, we're all right." And,
100%.
it's one that we always take with us. Running back room, obviously some changing faces. Still looking to be dynamic, mixed bag like it usually is with Carleton.
Yeah, we're trying to, we want to make sure. And for me, you guys asked about those two positions, right? It's making sure we can run the ball and doing those things. So, having Matt Moran back and making sure he stays healthy. Joey Marcotte, who hurt his foot last year and didn't and when he went in, he was very dynamic, but making sure that he's healthy. And Ethan Roach, we got a plethora of guys. Aiden Arnott Smith is in his last year. And looking for him to do some different things, how versatile he is, and things that he's brought in over the years, and making sure we're highlighting that and doing those things to making sure our older guys are doing that piece, and then our younger guys that are coming in, they can learn. And we do have some young running backs that can come in and help us. So we'll try our best to utilize all of their skill sets and go from there.
All right, I got to flip sides of the ball here
All right.
because you got two defensive guys sitting in front of you, and you guys had a very aggressive defense last year, right? Like I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you led the league last year in interceptions. So what are you doing to kind of expand on that, grow the defensive side of the ball for you guys at Carleton?
Yeah, I think with Coach Ron coming in and Coach Alex here working with the back end, and then Coach Tunde coming in here and helping out that back end, that kind of helps right there.
Yeah, not a bad name to have, certainly.
Definitely not. And, that learning and stuff like that. So really for me, fortunate enough to have really two defensive coordinators out there, plus some get pass game coordinators, and the talent and that experience. And that teaching out there is invaluable for our guys. So we're excited for that. We may not get the numbers or doing those different things because guys are still learning, but we're excited to see what Coach Ron puts together on the defensive side and with his staff. That's a very talented staff. Shutting down opponents and taking advantage of a lot of their weaknesses.
As you guys kind of went through the season last year, you kind of crept towards the end with Ottawa and Laurier. The Panda game, Connor will ask you about at the end. We know he always likes to do that. But to go out and finish the season last year, and play Laurier pretty close, and then just kind of it almost felt like it just kind of like faded towards the end of the game. How do you kind of take those pieces where, the score looks a lot different at the end than you played, but you're playing against a team that was in the Vanier Cup and you guys played them very well, and it's a young group that you guys have a lot of guys coming back. How do you kind of rally that point to say, like, look, guys, we're that close?
Yeah, we don't. I don't look at it with that close because that was last year, and this year is going to be a different year. And the OUA is so competitive, and whoever was at the bottom, and you as a coach, you sit back in the off season and say, okay, if this and if that, and who's going to be good and who's that, and who's, you don't know. We got to focus on ourselves. We know it's a brand new year. We talked in the off season during our training. We used the number 8 because that was really how many points we lost by to be kicked out of the playoffs. Losing to Mac, Ottawa, and I can't remember who else, Windsor also, right, to be out and stuff like that as a total. I think it was a total of 8 points, right, of not getting in. And that could have just changed the tide of what our season looked like. But that was last year, and this year we know things are going to change and going to be different, and we got to focus on ourselves. The guys, their rallying cry is for our guys that are in their last year, right? They want to go out and leave it on the line this year and go out with a great showing. So they have their own, they're building it as we go through camp. And I told them that they will build that, the brotherhood and the foundation and who we're going to be. And we'll get that built during camp and we'll ride that through the season. But what happened last year is last year. And if we dwell on that, we're going to be stuck in the past. We got to look at, going, coach cliche, but 1-0 each week. We talk about getting 1% better. And our focus right now is getting through camp healthy, doing what we have to do tomorrow to get better. And then as we prepare for our first regular season game, taking care of that opponent.
Now, I do want to pause there and ask about this because every year we talk to you, you always mention how the team takes on a new identity. And
Yep.
there's always a coach culture and a new year, new team. but you are the one coach that consistently says to us, at least, and publicly, be yourselves. This year's team needs to find their own way, find their own identity.
Yep.
Whereas, like, let's say for an example, Connor's favorite guy, Jim Harbaugh.
Yep.
He forces that team into tough, run the ball, gritty, hard nose, where you just kind of say, you guys find it out, we'll adapt to you. What benefits do you think that kind of carries through the season?
I think it's because then it's the players are taking ownership of it, right? It's not something that I'm forcing on them or the coaching staff, or it's not who they are, right? I want, like, through training camp for them to find out that identity of who they are and who they want to be, and then we're
Mm.
going to help them become that, right? Because every team hears everybody's going to go win the Vanier Cup or get in the playoffs, and not everybody is, but who do we want to be, and then what's it going to take for us to get to that and be that? Right. And then that allows us as coaches to really hold them accountable. If you say you want to do this and this is what you want to be, well, it's going to take this, this, and this. So if we see you doing this, but you told us you want to do that, then we're going to hold you to that. And if you're not doing that, we're going to remind you of what you told us you wanted to be. Right. And every team is going to be different. Right. And we can say, oh, we want to run the ball, we want to run this, but it may not be the case. We might have to be a team that goes, I don't know, 10 wide and spreads out, uses our O line or 5 yard splits and doing all that piece. And we're just throwing the ball around the park, or maybe we're lined up in under center with 3 backs and 2 tights, right? They're going to find out that identity, and then we're going to adapt to that, and then go from there. So that's what I truly believe, that as we build and throughout training camp, we talk about it daily in camp of who do we want to be, and then is that what we're showing on film? Because if that's what we're showing, then let's go in that direction. But if it's not, then how do we get to what it is that you want to?
All right, looking ahead here to week one of the OUA season, and naturally this is one of the most unpredictable weeks of the season. Everybody's still kind of trying to figure each other out. But what are you looking forward to as you face the Toronto Varsity Blues here at home in week one?
Yeah, shoot, I'm excited to play some football again. Right, get home, get in front of our crowd, our fans, watching the guys run out of the tunnel, seeing them get ready, the first years that are dressing, the butterflies in their stomach, the old guys that it's their last time running out for that first game, right? And seeing that joy in their face, and like, okay, we're here, right? Football's one of those sports. We have the longest off season for the shortest season. And so that's what I look forward to, is just them coming in and getting ready for practice, and them getting ready to go to the game, and just that excitement. And even for the coaching staff, the new staff, and the butterflies with them, and are they doing that, and how we gel. I'm looking forward to all of those things, because those are the things that are behind the scenes that not everybody gets to see. But as a head coach, you stand back and you get to watch it all come together, and you're just like, okay, because we all have, well, we're going to do this, and because we're going to win this and do that, and we have all that. But then when you start to see things come together, that's what I want to see, and that's what I'm excited about for week one.
Okay, Connor, Panda question. You're itching for it.
You know what? I'm gonna go a bit unorthodox with this one this year, because we the first time we talked when you were fresh off the head coaching job here at Carleton, you said, ask me in a couple of years what I think about the Panda game. But
Yeah.
what I want to ask this year, because I love the city of Ottawa, I love football in Ottawa. What does the Panda game mean to the city of Ottawa? Not just the team individually, but how does this game help grow football in the city of Ottawa?
It is what the biggest amateur game in this city, especially for football. And like my son plays Nepean Eagles, and plays in the CAFA. All those kids are out. This game between the two cities, and between the two universities, is so big. Even with when we talk about it, for recruiting, for both sides, bringing out who's getting the recruits that's behind their bench, who's getting that kid to go behind their bench. It's just helping grow the game, helping grow the culture of Ottawa being that top city for guys that have football talent, right? And just being able to showcase that, even though the Red Blacks are here, those guys, because I was at camp with them, are excited and coming out to watch the game, right? That's how big this game is, and it just shows the development of football, the talent of football in this city, and It's one of the things. It's one of the special events, U Sports events. But in this city, I know everybody's security officers, as they're giving out tickets on our cars, are saying you got to win the game. I said, what game? The Panda game. I'm like, can we win the first one? How about, can we worry about not ticketing our car and doing that? But there's always that buzz about that game and stuff like that, and it just helps grow football not only in the Ottawa city, but the surrounding area, and then putting youth sports on the map. That, you know what, we got a great product. We've been on the bad side of the last few, but I think from an entertainment purpose, possibly, you know, I'm crying after, but from an entertainment purpose of those games, I think people have got their money's worth. And maybe I'll talk to Coach Belfway. We've had these close games and stuff like that, and people keep coming out. Maybe we can jack up the price a little bit more because, you know, people are going to be entertained and we can make some money for our programs. We've been doing a good job of that, but it does show how great this game is, and, you know, the two universities, and what rivalry looks like in this city.
Awesome. With that, Coach, we will let you get ready for your road trip to Connor and I's neck of the woods. And then week one after that. Thank you so much for your time. We look forward to watching you guys kick off the season as always.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Keep doing a great job.